Welcome everyone and welcome to the Lakeview video podcast series. I'm really pleased today to be joined with David Naylor, who is with Bridgeway Sober Living in Austin, Texas. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited to hear more about your program. So Bridgeway Holistic Sober Living, it's got 8 beds, correct? Or 8 houses.
We've got 8 homes.
And how many are men and how many are women?
We've got 5 male houses and 3 female houses.
And so how's that working out? I mean, so what made you decide this is the direction I wanted to go in?
Well, my first real treatment when I was 17. And I didn't really heal and do the work until about 12 years later when I was 29. Was in corporate most of my life. I was at Google for several years, and it came to the point last year where it was in my career, but it wasn't in my calling. And so I read this book, From Career to Your Calling, and I've always enjoyed helping people experience what I experienced. And that's when I left my dream career and dream job and set out for my calling and opened one house. And it's just been kind of a floodgate of knowing that I was following that voice inside, and it's grown pretty quickly.
And it's just a passion now.
It is.
That's great. You talk about healing a lot on your website and a lot of the literature that you have. What does that healing look like for your residents when they come into your program?
Well, when they come in, as you know, a treatment and IOP, it's expensive, especially if one doesn't have insurance. So, we're really affordable, so you can come in and live in a community of people in a safe, nurturing environment that's structured. There's accountability, where you're going to work the 12 steps and develop that relationship with your higher power, but you're also going to connect to your feelings. You're also going to learn how to rescue that inner child, if you will, and raise yourself up, do a lot of family of origins work, and learn how to ask for what you need and want, learn how to rebuild that self-esteem, learn how to set boundaries, and just kind of like get that extra mile of care, mentorship, coaching. It comes with a gym membership, in just kind of a holistic 360 approach.
Sounds very familiar, because I believe we've adopted some of that very same stuff over here at Lakeview, which is great.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot about the concept of healing, and a lot of that is driven by the work that you do with your recovery coaches.
That's right.
You also talk about how you have a minimum of 10 years of experience working with recovery, or at least your coaches do.
That's right.
And that you believe that in order for it to be authentic for your staff, in order for them to relate, they really have to understand the steps, and they have to understand the process of recovery. So what does that look like when you're working with your staff?
Well, for instance, we just hired someone who's been at Origins for several years in South Padre. All of our staff has had to not only work through the steps for their, drug of choice from whatever that was, but then they also do the deeper level process addiction work, where they're learning to, so drug, alcohol, well, what's underneath that? Codependency, food addiction, relationship, work, sex addiction, and then they kind of work on those layers to really connect with their true self, to know the steps, and then to also the deeper level of the trauma work, codependency work, shame release, and learn how to live from a full self-esteem, if you will. So our staff has had all of that experience and training to then pass on to our residents.
So it's almost like putting your oxygen mask on first in order to help the residents.
That's right.
That's great.
That's
it's
right.
a wonderful servant leadership approach as well.
Well, we have to be, my higher power, who I call God, has given us this. It's not ours, right? This is the flock. This is what he's opened up. In 8 months, we've grown to 8 houses and 65 residents. So we have a duty to have a core leadership team to serve the souls that God brings, not us.
That's a great philosophy, David. And for those folks that are watching today, if they wanted to learn more about how Bridgeway works, and if they wanted to access services at Bridgeway, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to bridgewaysoberliving.com. We've also recently acquired hickorywindranch.com, so you can go to any one of those websites, or you can call us. There's a phone number that's 512-765-5711, or you can email me at david@bridgewaysoberliving.com, and someone will get back to you.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for visiting us here in
Thank you.
Jacksonville. And
Absolutely.
for those folks that are watching today and they want to learn more about how to access residential treatment, we invite you to call us at 866 887-0142, and one of our trained staff will be available to help you right away. Thank you.
Thank you.